We're live right now.
Okay.
Not really sure what we're going to expect tonight. Tonight's going to be a busy night on YouTube. A lot of people are going live. May not get too many in here, but it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring you the information. If you don't catch us live, maybe you'll catch us on the replay. Like I say, there's a lot of people going live tonight, so we'll probably be button heads, for people in the chat. So we'll just see how it goes. We're not going to worry too much about it. My PayPal may be somewhere in the chat. It may not. It's not that big of a deal. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., I'll be doing a Bible study. And then tomorrow night at 8 p.m., I'll be live. Wednesday night at 8 p.m., I'll do Bible stories. And then Friday night at 8 p.m., I'll be live again. So we're going to, tonight, we got a really special guy going with us. He's a deep diver. He's a great researcher. Y'all know him. But we didn't get done last night. He was my guest last night. And we didn't get done with what we were talking about. So I decided to do this special edition just to get us up to speed because it changes daily. And my brother and my patriot friend, Fight and Defend, I welcome you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Bobby. Hello to everyone in the chat.
We've got a couple, so keep talking.
All right. Yeah, we got some interesting things going on, and probably by the time you're done, your blood pressure will be up. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Philip, how you doing?
So, you want to start off with that video, Bobby?
Yeah. Are you going to screen share the video or just the audio?
Just the audio.
Okay, yeah, guys, listen to this, and then we'll talk about it.
Scam while the disease spreads in the Middle East and around the world. Then more on this week's China News headlines. This is China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This week's China News headlines. An update on the coronavirus disease, also called COVID-19. It's now spread to at least 48 countries. But the World Health Organization is declining to call it a pandemic. Cool. Just like they declined to call it a global health emergency a month ago.
Right.
Now, a pandemic means that a disease is spreading around the world. And the WHO used to have specific criteria for declaring a pandemic. And with outbreaks in China, South Korea, Italy, and Iran, COVID-19 would likely have met those criteria. But the good news is, now the WHO's criteria for pandemics is a lot more vague. According to the Director General, the coronavirus is not a pandemic because there hasn't been uncontained global spread or large-scale severe disease or death. Instead, the head of the WHO says these are epidemics in different parts of the world. I mean, South Korea is reporting record daily spikes, and Japan is closing all schools.
Right.
Throughout the Middle East, with Iran having the highest death toll outside of China, and the guy in charge of fighting it in Iran was infected. Coronavirus cases are also surging in Italy and spreading from Italy to the rest of Europe, and it's in Latin America now. But thank goodness it's not a pandemic yet. However, official numbers of new coronavirus cases are down in China. Fortunately,
Imagine.
It might just be because the Communist Party has a coronavirus scam, changing the definition of what an infection is. They've changed the definition 6 times so far.
6 times.
The numbers are going down. According to an expert at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, there are 2 possibilities. The draconian social distancing measures China has taken are really driving the number of cases down, or health officials are changing their view of what constitutes a case. Kind of like how the party lifted millions of people out of poverty by changing the definition of what poverty meant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just a play of words.
Yeah.
Problem solved. But one thing we can all confidently count on is the lack of medical supplies, since everything is made in China. The coronavirus is hitting
True.
the Chinese economy hard. Factories are struggling to start up again after being shut down. Only a third of Chinese small businesses are open. And migrant workers, a critical part of the Chinese economy, can't move throughout the country because of quarantines and border restrictions. You know what that means? Now's the right time to buy Chinese stocks. JP Morgan says the Chinese economy will grow in the second quarter. I mean, just think about how much money can be made in China. There's probably no downside at all.
I'm going to stop it there for a
Especially
second,
if
Bobby.
you don't learn
Sure.
from it.
So think about that, folks. It's all over in like investment news and stuff like that. They're talking about when the markets crash because of this, the elites are going to go in and buy everything up. And of course, we're all going to go broke. Anybody that has any small investments or whatever, your 401ks and stuff are going to take a hit.
Yep.
These guys are going to come in and line their pockets once again.
And that's what it's all about.
Yep.
It's all about the money.
Yep.
And so now you got this guy telling you they've changed the way they count this stuff 6 times.
Yep.
And so the last I heard, or the second phase of it, was that they stopped counting people that were dead in their homes and their houses that they'd been locked into.
Correct.
And only counted those that were dead at the hospital.
Yes.
And transported from the hospital to the crematorium.
Correct.
So now there you go right there. And it's mutated 6 times.
Yep.
If this disease would mutate as fast as they're counting criteria, this thing would have mutated to the point now to where it would be nothing.
Yep.
It wouldn't affect humans at all.
And keep in mind, the World Health Organization's name comes up in all of this stuff, all of these scams, every one of them.
And that's the whole thing. It's all a scam on humanity.
Yep.
According to the corrupt, you just said, the World Health Organization of UN fame, of course.
Oh, yes.
Has put out a new warning concerning the COVID virus. The WHO warns us of an infodemic that undermines the public trust.
Yep.
So they're more worried about an information epidemic, getting the truth out there, when in fact, the World Health Organization never tells the truth about anything. And their misinformation and their lies do nothing but cause confusion with the true facts.
Yep.
And that's what they're there for, is to confuse the issue.
And then we got our government today saying, not Trump, but our government itself saying there's no need for us to buy masks and we should basically save them for medical personnel. Unless, of course, you have the virus, then they want you to put a mask on. Well,
I said from the very beginning, because I've wore a mask many times working in operating rooms and emergency rooms, and I've always said, well, it seems to me it keeps more in than it lets out. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it keeps everything you do because you keep rebreathing yourself.
Right.
So it's better for people who are positive to wear the mask.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. But they're telling people that don't have it, don't bother wearing masks. Why would you do that? So,
I don't know.
Well, now we can get into the good stuff.
Okay.
And this actually, people can look this up. This was in Market Watch a while back. In 2017, the World Bank and a guy named Jim Young started selling bonds. World Bank took out $245 million for policies to partake in a pandemic. So you could buy into this and hope that somebody...
Now we're talking bonds.
Bonds. It was Class A and Class B bonds.
Really?
Yeah. Now,
so they were buying bonds, and clarify it for me because I'm still confused on this. That they were buying these bonds in hopes of what?
Well, a pandemic would have to occur in order to make money.
Okay. So,
So-
if it occurred, they made money.
Right. So Class B bonds usually pay out about 3%. These Class B bonds are paying out at 14%.
Wow.
Interesting. So this is where it gets fun. It's not funny at all, actually. They say that they sold these bonds in order to raise money to help out third world countries in case there was a pandemic. Sounds all warm and cuddly, right?
That sounds good. Yeah.
I think it's pretty nice of these people,
Yeah.
except till you get to the truth.
This is why we're here, brother. We're here to tell the truth.
Funds can only be released after a certain amount of time and in accordance with complex criteria, including outbreak size, growth rate,
Yeah.
deadlines, and death tolls. In the case of the coronavirus, the bonds would not pay out until 12 weeks after the World Health Organization, again, publishes its first situation report, which would not be available until March 23rd.
Okay.
So if your concern is to help people that have the coronavirus, why are you putting dates on it? Oh, but wait a minute. That's because the bonds don't pay out. They come due on July 1st of 2020. So they have to keep the coronavirus going till July 1st so they can get their money.
And we're talking millions and millions of dollars here.
Huge money.
Wow. See,
Huge.
and so see, it's almost like a lottery of a sort, you know, or some kind of gambling. They're playing some kind of gambling game, you know, buying these bonds with humanity, and humanity are the playing chips.
Listen, they're shutting down dog tracks and horse racing tracks because it's cruel and inhumane to make money off of, you know, beating down an animal. But it's okay with humans. It's okay with us. The more of us that die, the better off that they are. They get better returns. The higher the number count. It's unbelievable.
Always. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And look at our stock market. You know, that's a bigger fear for me than anything else right now is our stock market. Never mind that a lot of this is coming from the COVID-19 virus. But see, that's the part of it that I'm worried about.
Yeah. That's going to do a lot of damage to everybody.
You know, I'm waiting to go to the bank and there'll be no money.
It's coming.
It happened in 2008 to a lot of people.
It's coming. Seriously.
Hello, Charity Osho. How you doing? Luciano in 12B, Georgia. I knew it was going to be a low night tonight, but I'm glad you guys popped in.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of people going live right now, so we're all butting heads for people, and I'm just glad y'all came in for a little while.
You know,
but, get back on topic there, brother. I'm sorry I jumped off.
That's all right. It's sad. I mean, this is news from yesterday. They had said then it was 82,000 people have been affected. Over 2,800 people in 51 countries have died. But yet the World Health Organization will not call it a pandemic.
Yeah, they refuse to use that word. And you know, I'm not going to be bashing Trump or anything, but I don't understand I understand him downplaying it to a point, but to downplay it to the point of it's nothing more than the common cold, you know, surprises me. But anyway,
there's something to that.
Well, the fact of the matter is it affects a certain group of people.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the elderly. You know, if you have a weak immune system and you happen to contract this, it could be deadly.
Yeah.
You know, the older you get, the worse it can be on you.
Yeah.
You know, now, and that's just human nature.
Yeah. Keep in mind with this, between 2018 and 2019, the World Bank basically lost $61.4 million and fighting Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo rather. Sorry.
Yeah.
So $61.4 million. They still have Ebola. Where's that money? What are you paying for?
It's like everything that happens in our government. If you'll remember in Haiti, when they had the disaster there.
Oh yeah.
Bill Clinton was made czar or commander or whatever over that whole situation there in Haiti. Well, you had his good friend, can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but she was tried to smuggle 30 kids across international borders, tried to bring them in to the Dominican Republic. But anyway, it's not just that. Out of the billions of dollars that Haiti got for aid, 85% of it went into the pockets of Bill Clinton.
Yes. Yeah.
And the foundation and other officials to buy their silence.
Yep.
So there you go again. That's why we found all this stuff in Puerto Rico the other week.
Oh, yeah.
All this water that was been stored for warehouse full of stuff.
Yep.
And I reported on that last year.
Yeah.
And nothing was ever said. Now all of a sudden it's big music. But that's okay too.
Luciano, yeah, that's possible. When you're talking about Haiti, if you don't mind, let me tell you a quick story. And this is a true story. It's sad.
Yeah, Luciano, that could well be.
When they were still doing rescues over in Haiti, a good friend of mine, he was a cop too. His brother was a medic, and he went over there. And they were in the middle of digging under a building to save a little girl who was alive.
Right.
Well, Hillary's plane was coming into land. They ordered everybody back off to the distance so her plane could come in and she could do her little political stance. And then after they could come back. So the plane landed. Hillary did her thing. It was about an hour or so. When he got back to her, the little girl was dead. And his brother told me about it. He said he was devastated, completely devastated.
Man, but say there again, oh my goodness, and everything is so upside down.
It is.
When it comes to the Democrats, it really is. It's so upside down that right is wrong and good is bad and bad is good. They literally live in a different reality. They really do.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, they do. It's sad. Well, like I said, the Federal Reserve looks at us as chattel, not cattle, chattel, CHATTLE. Basically, they feel that they own us.
Okay.
That's their feeling on it, that they own us. We're nothing. They're proving it time and time again right here. That is proof that they're betting on us dying.
They're hoping. Yeah. Yeah. They're literally playing a game of wager.
Yeah.
Here it's just like you and I making a bet on a football game.
Yep.
But to them, lives are nothing. And neither are millions of dollars. Because you're talking about the cabal and the elite and all these people with all the money.
Yeah. It's sick. It really is sick. Everything that's going on right now. They're getting richer and richer. And there's no middle class left. We're down on the bottom. But I ran across a cute quote today that I wrote.
Okay.
It says, give a man a gun and he'll rob a bank. Give a man a bank and he'll rob the world.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Think about that.
Yeah. And power corrupts, no doubt about it.
It's crazy.
But it's still the same two players in this whole mess. that it all
Yeah.
points back to, and that's Bill and Melinda Gates.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how it was a long time ago. He said that that we were headed for a pandemic. You know, he knew about it long before it ever happened. And that's the way evil works. See, they have to tell us what they're doing.
Yeah.
As part of the law of nature or God or whatever it is that governs those kind of things. These evil demon rats can't do evil without telling us first what they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, he just came out today. Gates came out today and said he announced that this was basically this was the disease that they were worried about. That they feared. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you got that wrong. This is the disease that you were hoping for.
Yeah, it's just not working fast enough.
Right.
That's their fear, is that it won't work quick enough.
Well, and that all goes back to the World Bank.
Exactly.
They have to have the virus still going by July 1st.
So that their bonds will pay off. And you see, but see, that's the elite for you. They're playing with lives over a simple wager.
Oh, yeah.
To them, it may be simple. To us, it would be astronomical. I mean, we don't deal in millions in billions like they do.
But you know what, though? I mean, through all of this, with everything that's going on, we're in a crazy world. You know, how I see it personally is, to them, we're out of control right now, and they're fearing us, and they need to get us back in control. And I really think that's why we have so much coming at us. You know, if you confuse the masses, you get them back under control. You know, people will go back to just, you know what? I don't want to know anything anymore. I don't want to hear anything anymore. You know, you're blind to what's going on. You go back to watching football on Sunday and drinking your beer, and that's all you care about. People are waking up. They're nervous. I keep saying this. They're nervous. They're getting scared. People are standing up. People have had enough. And it's not just the U.S. It's all over the world, you know. But look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong was protesting. Things were getting out of hand. Boom, the coronavirus hits. You hear nothing about Hong Kong protesting. Problem solved.
Yep, it's over. It's over.
You know?
But see, that was all part of it too. You know, there again. The Hong Kong protests brought all this attention to China. Okay,
Yeah.
then, yeah, because they needed all the attention to be on China because of the coronavirus that they were going to release. And I don't think for a minute this escaped. You know, I don't think for a minute that it was just an accident. I really don't believe that, John. I don't believe it for a minute. This was intentional. And all of these nations, the thing you played there a minute ago said 48 countries. Last I heard was 60 countries.
Yeah, actually, I've got that. Hang on one second. You should still have me on the screen.
Sure.
This is the latest update as of 8:13 tonight.
Okay.
Total infected is 86,584. Total deaths is 2,977. And then total recovery is 42,112. But as we know, we're starting to see that people that have recovered are now getting it again. And
relapsing. Yeah.
And dying.
Yeah. And they say that it's really traumatic on your heart because of the medications that they gave you the first time.
Yep.
So they gave you enough to almost kill you to save your life.
Yep.
You know, but yet if they give you any more, it is going to kill you, so they can't give it to you.
Hey, question, Bobby. When was the
Sure.
When was the first day that we heard Italy had its first case? Do you remember?
Just a few days ago.
You know how many they got right now in Italy? As of 8/13 tonight, 1,128 cases confirmed.
Wow. And they started off with 4 cases, I think it was last Thursday.
Yep.
So in 5 days, it's gone to that.
Yep. 1,128.
Yeah, but there's nothing to worry about here. If you're not old, Don't worry about it.
We have 70 confirmed in the U.S., they're saying right now.
Wow. And it was 60 this morning.
Yeah, this is, and like I said, this is up to date. Canada,
People have been trying to tell
20.
you. If you want the truth, come here, because we're going to tell you the truth of this stuff. If you like it or if you don't, but I guarantee you, history will prove us right.
They Mexico actually has 4 right now, Bobby.
They do.
Yes. And that's another thing, folks. Trump talked tonight about completely shutting down the borders, all of them. You know, and we were talking about that, about why Trump was so.
Oh, and we also have our first death.
Yes, we do.
In America, in Washington.
Washington. Yep.
Yeah. 60-year-old, a 50-year-old man.
Yep. So, I mean, this is all over now. I mean, it's Ireland, Iceland. They got 1 in Iceland. Monaco 1. New Zealand 1. Egypt 1. Sri Lanka 1. I mean, it's everywhere now.
Well, it always has to start with 1.
Yep. But I worry for Italy because that's a huge number in a short amount of time.
And well, they live very close to each other.
Once again,
they're very tight-knit families.
And everybody keep that in mind.
Yeah, for real.
Keep in mind, Agenda 21, Agenda 30. What is their goal? To pack us tight into the cities. This is what happens when you pack your people tight in.
Sure. I'm amazed at New York City, you know, in some of the boroughs that there hasn't been an increase. But then again, we don't know the real numbers. We don't know what the increases are.
Right.
It's all speculation, people. Every bit of it is speculation because we're not getting the truth from anybody. It doesn't matter if it's the World Health Organization, the CDC, President Trump, or President Xi of China. It doesn't matter. We're going to get the same lie.
We're limited to how many kits that we have in the United States right now, too. That's another problem.
Sure, they can't test all of the people. So they're diagnosing them with anything except the true COVID-19 virus. But then again, you have the president, you know, he's saying, it's like the common cold. Don't worry about it. Well, that might be true to somebody, you know, in their 30s.
Right.
But I'm 65 in a month. And if I get it, it could kill me.
Yeah.
You know, with the COPD problems that I have. So, yeah. So what do you want to do? Get rid of all the old people.
You know,
all they do is consume energy.
You know what's strange, Bobby? I'm looking at the map, basically the world map.
Okay.
And in the United States, they got red dots of all the cases confirmed in the United States. And it's completely around the borders. Most of them are out in the West Coast, but it's completely around the borders. It's unbelievable.
Southern and northern borders?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
Update for South Korea right now is 3,150 confirmed cases.
But North Korea has none.
Yeah. They're not even listed.
Imagine that. Oh, yeah, they've been off the list the whole time. They're saying if coronavirus shows up there's going to be a lot of people pay a price for that because they don't want it there. And he's even talking like it being, well, if it comes to North Korea, that's where it was meant to go in the beginning.
Yeah, well,
you know, so y'all did this to me, so now we're going to shoot off a nuclear bomb.
Well, I mean, we know already in the beginning there, North Korea there, one of their high-ranking officials had the sniffles. It wasn't even confirmed that he had the coronavirus. He had the sniffles. They ordered him in quarantine. He went to some gathering, was in a pool with a bunch of people. They took him out of the pool and they shot him dead.
Yep.
For the sniffles.
Well, that's what happens in North Korea. You know, he's killed his uncles and other relatives and stuff who do. You just don't disagree with him and you don't do anything that he's not, you know, a party to. So yeah, you sniffle, you die.
Yep. Charity Oprah just brought up a good point. Think of the high flu rates. Easy to cover this up in many ways, sadly. Well, funny you should say that, Charity, because right now we have the highest ever recorded rate of children dying of the flu this year in the United States.
But you see, it's the flu
Yep.
because they're not being tested.
Yep.
So we don't know the numbers, Charity. There
Right.
again, more proof we don't know the true numbers.
Yep.
I mean, when it first came out, what'd they say? The young and the old. Okay, that was a 5-year-old child, I think you just said. All right, so I mean, you got kids dying, and you got old people dying, and they're calling it the flu.
Yeah,
because they don't have the test kits to test them in all of these hospitals.
Well, and keep in mind, July 1st. You got to keep it going till July 1st. It's sick.
My.
I feel like
and here Trump is saying that this is all going to be over by April. I don't believe it.
No. Well, you know what? Maybe he knows about the July 1st number.
Could be.
All I know is I feel like a rented mule right now.
I feel like I've been rode hard and put up wet.
Yeah. I hope they don't bet a lot on me.
And let's see. Charity says, I know doctors here have tested with x-rays, but haven't been allowed to diagnose COVID-19. It's really upsetting and it's sick. And Charity, now that I got you on here, I expected you to call me yesterday or today, and you didn't. Are you still wanting to come on tomorrow night with me at 8 o'clock, or are you going to be tied up? You can give me a call, let me know what you think, or you can leave me a message in the chat, and I'll try to pick it up.
You're
right, Mary. Panic leads to violence.
Absolutely.
You're exactly right, and that's what happens. And we're to the point right now to where everybody with their lies is trying to quell a panic.
Yes.
They're subverting the numbers and corrupting the count to protect us. It's just like if aliens were to show up, maybe they already have, but we're not being told because we can't handle the truth.
Right. They don't want to hurt our feelings, and have to put us in a timeout room, But think about this now, just in the United States on numbers, Florida's not even releasing any information.
That's true.
We know that. They're not only are they not saying who has it, they're not saying anybody has it. So we don't even know. I mean, and there's chatter. There are people down here that are under quarantine or house quarantine, or affected. Nobody can say yay or nay. That's what's scary.
Well, and that's one thing that's scary to begin with is house quarantine, self-quarantine. Okay.
Yeah.
How I'm going to be honest with you. I could easily self-quarantine because I don't go very many places. But there are some places that I go to that I would still continue to go to because it's just 3 doors down. Well, that's breaking quarantine.
Yep. But you know what?
So how many people would actually self-quarantine and follow through with it to the letter?
Think about this. All right. You're sick. You're not feeling well. You stay home by choice.
Yeah.
You have somebody tell you you're not to go anywhere as you're quarantined. And right away, what do you think? Who the hell are they to tell me?
Who the hell are they?
Exactly. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
I read an article today. A guy wrote in and he said if he ever came down with the coronavirus, he was going to just go out and spread it to everybody. And I'm thinking, well, that's a little selfish. If you're going to do that, go to a Democratic convention, or go to a Bernie Sanders convention. Don't waste, So it's crazy.
Yeah, make use of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Use it as a weapon like they are.
And the thing about it is I don't wish this upon anyone, but the sad truth of the matter is I believe that it's a lot worse than we're being told, And I believe that 95% of most of the flu cases are connected to the COVID-19, if not another coronavirus.
Yeah.
There's quite a few coronaviruses that go around right now. I mean, we've got, the swine flu, we get the H5N1, the H1N1, the Spanish flu. We got all this stuff going around, and then Ebola. That's not conquered.
Right.
We've got all this stuff going around, and so to downplay anything that can cause death or disrupt society, our supply chains. Okay,
it's already happening.
You don't have to kill people to disrupt the supply chains. Just make them sick.
Yep.
Scare them.
Yeah.
Make them stay home.
And it's already affecting our supply chains, they're saying.
Yeah.
People are starting to panic already.
Yeah. I mean, I drove a truck for 7 years, and I'll be honest with you, if I knew that it never happened, never even heard of it. But if I heard that there was an outbreak in Indianapolis or, St. Louis or anywhere, I'd refuse to take the load.
Right. Right. And they've already said that, though.
I mean, why would I put myself in danger?
Yeah, the Truckers Association already said that they wouldn't allow the drivers to go in areas where it's a high concentration of it, or quarantine area. So it's crazy. It is. Everybody throughout the world is being lied to right now.
Thank you.
They really are.
By everybody.
Yeah. And what's amazing, they're lying to all of us so a few of them can make huge money off of it. They'll make money off of it through the World Bank. They'll make money off of it investing in the stock market after the market crashes. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, and we have to remind people, if you weren't here earlier, when he talks about the World Bank, we're talking about bonds.
Yep.
That they're selling. That'll pay off in July 1st, did you say?
Yeah. July 1st.
July 1st. If we can keep this thing going until July, they're going to make some big bucks off of those bonds.
Yep. Class A and Class B bonds. And like I said, Class B bonds usually pay out about 3%. These are going to be paying 14%.
And the funny part, if I'm not wrong, if it doesn't go till that date,
they lose.
Yeah. So what does the suffering countries get that the bonds are written on?
The same thing Haiti got.
Nothing.
Look
at that. Isn't that something, people?
It's just
what we have. That's what we have in our society. People being predators on other people.
Profiting off of our death.
Yeah.
So
nothing but predators.
Yep.
And they want to see the stock market fail.
Oh, yes.
Trump could throw billions of dollars at it if he wanted to, I imagine. But you can't prop up a failing economy when half of the nation is wanting it to fail.
Right.
I mean, you have to stop and look. We don't just have the Democrats now. We have these socialist, quote, quote, Democrats and the pure out socialist communists.
Yep.
And then you have American armed patriots. So we're facing three entities.
Oh, yeah.
There's no more independence. They're almost a thing of the past. You can't be an independent. You have to pick, and it's us against them. And there's more of them than there are of us.
Yep.
And it's getting that way more and more all the time with this socialism that Bernie Sanders and AOC are throwing out there for us to, these young people to listen to.
Yep. But you got to keep in mind, though, always remember, there's more of them than there are of us, but we have the weapons.
That's the truth. We do. But see, that's the whole thing. And that's what they want it to come to. What better than to have, a pandemic, if it's real or not. Once they call it a pandemic, all holds are barred. No holds are barred.
Yeah.
It's Katie bar the door. and they're going to go crazy with. Then they're going to start throwing some real big numbers at us. You know, a little bit closer to the truth, but still not the truth. Because if they told us the truth, we would all just fall down and dismay of the real numbers.
Well,
So they're not going to give us the real numbers, even when they give us the real numbers. Does that make sense?
well, yeah, because they know we'd rise up.
Exactly.
And they can't have that. They can't have that, and they know that. So it's nuts. Going back to that World Bank, like I said,
Yeah.
it was the World Bank and a guy named Jimmy Young. Well, Jimmy Young abruptly resigned from this whole ordeal on January 7th of this year. So he's already taken his money and boogied.
Get your money and run.
Yep.
Yeah.
They sold bonds. He took his money and boogied. I think there's a law against that. Did he not get the memo?
Yeah. But see, there again, they play with us like we're chattel.
Chattel, exactly.
You know, we're chattel. You know, and they play with our lives as they see fit, because to them it's just a game.
Yeah.
Because they're so bored, they have so much money, they can do anything. So why not play with people's lives? Why not make the game real? You know, why don't we talk real deaths here?
Yep.
Who can get the more deaths with their whatever it is they're doing? And they're all into this pandemic now with bonds that they've bought, looking for the big payout come July 2nd.
Yeah, if anybody wants to look that up, I mean, you can. Like I said, it was on Market Watch. It's back from 2017, but it's there. And that's not the only one. There was other sites too that were talking about that. It's just nuts. It really is freaking nuts. So, I don't know. You know, our plates are full. I don't know how much longer. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I don't know how much longer people are going to put up with this before the other shoe drops. I think you know what, if this hits us hard enough, you know, I'm not fear mongering. If this hits us hard enough and people aren't eating, I think you'll start seeing people come out finally and doing something.
Yeah, and when you start seeing these falling stocks, you know, that this whole COVID thing could put us back in the dark ages.
I'm waiting to see what happens Monday.
Yeah.
How bad the stock market's going to be on Monday.
Exactly. What's it going to open at and what's it going to close at?
Yeah. Well, we were talking, look at the price, silver and gold prices. Even they dropped. You know,
well, you know that these Democrats, all they dream about is power, and the only way they can have power is through the downfall of America.
Oh, yeah.
And what better way to attack America is with a pandemic and the stock market crash.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and people really need to read up on it. Basically, the United States is actually repeating exactly what Rome did.
Yeah.
Before they went down.
Exactly. And we're doing the same thing that we did in 2008.
Yep. The fall of the empire. People have not learned from history. And now our schools aren't even teaching history.
And what do they say about history? If you fail to remember history, you're bound to repeat it.
Yeah. And here we are.
Repeating it over and over again.
So,
hey, Mark Miller, glad to see you. Sam, Disabled Vets Perspective. Y'all guys, 12B Georgia, Mary, Charity Osho. So, yeah, everything's looking good, man. I'll tell you, it's looking good for the elite. It's not looking so good for elderly men.
Yep.
Seems to be hitting men more than women.
Yeah. You know what? I wish people would do it, but of course they won't, especially in the U.S. When the market crashes, you know, these big places like Walmart and stuff are going to take a beating. They really are. Let these elites dump all their money into the stocks of the companies. I really wish that people would go, hey, you know what? Screw you. We're not buying from you. They need to take massive hits. If they take massive hits, they won't be as cocky as they are. They won't have the control that they have over us.
Right.
Think about that. You know,
Well, let me ask you this. How is Japan and Germany tied into this bond deal with the World Bank?
they actually are the ones that funded this.
So they're funding the payouts.
Yes. Hang on one second. Said the bonds funded by donor nations Japan and Germany
Huh.
deliver interest payments to investors not until the conditions of the infectious disease outbreaks are triggered.
Triggered.
But now,
Isn't
keep in mind, they're not calling it a pandemic. They're putting off calling it a pandemic. And they say that's not going to be till March. What did I say the date was? March 23rd is when they're going to put
23rd, yeah.
a situation report.
So March 23rd, we'll get a situation report from the World Health Organization. Is that right?
So they're saying, yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay. So that's when they're going to call it a pandemic.
Yeah, and then the bonds pay out July 1st.
July 1st. Yeah.
It's sick.
Man, it never ends.
No.
It never ends, people. It never ends. I mean, they are so deep into our lives. It's pathetic. I mean, just think we're sitting here talking about the COVID virus, and there's a dozen other topics that are just as threatening to us that we haven't even brought up. You know, and it's happening right here in America every single day.
Yep. Yeah, on that, we talked about it a little bit last night. I will say, people, all this stuff with the sex trafficking of the kids and the pedophile ring and stuff,
Yeah.
they are making arrests. I haven't checked tonight. As of last night, I had 15 pages of arrest, federal arrest, all for sex trafficking, sex with kids, child pornography, the whole 9 yards. They are making arrests. It is going on, thank God. And actually, they just got in Nigeria, they just recovered 46 children, all who had been sexually abused between the ages of 10 and 17. And they arrested 18 guys that were trafficking them.
Oh, my goodness. Man, I'll tell you what, that breaks your heart.
And that was just released today.
That's breaks your heart just to hear that kind of stuff.
It
does me.
You know, we've talked, Bobby. You know, I'm not a religious person, but I'll tell you what, even I'm telling myself it's time to get right with your maker. Yeah, DM, lots of arrests and CEOs are stepping down. Watch that. Watch how many CEOs are stepping down. It just happened the other day with MasterCard, Disney, and one other one in a 24-hour period.
Yep, and that's all they're worried about. You know, is we got to, and they're taking them down. You know, Trump made a promise. Trump made a promise that he was going to take these people down, and I was beginning to wonder if he ever would. But we are starting to see arrest of somebody other than your local dog catcher or, the guy who lives down the street.
Yep.
We're starting to see people with a little more prestige, with a little bit higher paying jobs and a little more prestige in the community being taken down. So they're climbing that ladder, my friend. And I think that if we live long enough, and if Trump lives long enough, we may see some of these top names eventually start to fall, or disappear.
Yeah, because when I first started seeing a list, it was just average people with a lot of charges. Now I'm getting doctors, lawyers, school superintendents.
Yeah,
crazy. It's going up the list. And I mean, some of the stories that I'm reading, what they were charged with, they shouldn't even make it to court. Seriously, take them right out to the town green and let them swing from a tree.
Well, that's the whole thing behind uh, martial law or uh, court martials. Either one. If you have a court martial and you're found guilty and you're sentenced, whatever that sentence is, you start serving it right then.
Yeah.
And if you get the death penalty, they'll probably give you a choice of the guillotine or to be hung. And within 24 hours, you will be dead.
I'll tell you what.
There will be no appeals in a court martial, a military court martial. There are no appeals.
All the ones that I have are all federal charges, which means, no early release, parole, or any of that crap.
That's right. Yeah.
The average person so far I've seen is gotten between 10 to 25 years, except for one guy in Tennessee that was sex trafficking kids. They caught him with drugs and a machine gun. Apparently, he didn't get the memo that machine guns were illegal. He actually is looking at life.
Yeah,
they're going for life for him. So it's happening. We're not hearing about it. You got to dig down really deep to find it, but the media doesn't want you to know because, like you said, we're working up the ladder. Sooner or later, you're going to see your CEOs and big names that you recognize, and the media doesn't want people to know.
And that's why you don't hear about it on the mainstream media.
Right.
You don't hear none of this.
No. Nope.
And that's why I say, people, if you want to hear the truth, come here when I have Fight and Defend. I try to be truthful all the time, but when I bring John on Fight and Defend, I'll tell you, man, you can expect nothing but the truth. And I guarantee you, if you sit here long enough and listen to the whole show, this man will tell you a truth that you didn't know. He's an awesome diver into research, but John, we need to talk a little bit right quick, just to reiterate what's going on in Africa. People need to be aware that this stuff's in Africa now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, they still have Ebola.
Yeah, you know what? Africa, I'm telling you, they said from the beginning, if Africa got it, they'd be devastated. Now, you think back, and I think I mentioned this to you, Bobby. You have UNICEF that raises funds for Africa. I remember being a little kid
Yes.
on Halloween, going around with my little UNICEF box, getting nickels and dimes to help UNICEF. I'd say 4 or 5 years old.
That one and Save the Children. Yeah.
I'm 55 years old now. They still haven't figured out how to solve problems over there with all that money. Are you freaking kidding me? 50 years and you still haven't figured out how to drill a well over there for fresh water?
My daughter took a missionary trip to Africa when she was like 17. And when she came home, she locked herself away in her room for a while. She could not handle what she had seen in South Africa. She said, riding on the bus, she says, before you even got near the village, you could smell the village.
Yeah.
Said the hygiene was terrible. There were flies, in all the food, flies in their face and their eyes, their mouths, and people were pretty much starving to death.
Yeah.
And here, so South Africa is not a place conducive for a pandemic.
Right.
They've been battling Ebola now for how many years?
A long time. Well, you've seen it, like I said, 61 million.
Yeah. Now, 61 million. And now we're going to go into this and put this on those people in Africa. And
it's going to be devastating. It's going to be devastating down there.
It's going to be devastating in Mexico and Central and South America as well if it ever takes foothold. Well, and it's going to be devastating right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
We've got better health care where we take care of ourselves better. than a lot of foreign countries. I've been
True.
to Mexico, and when I went to Mexico, it was unbelievable. We went into this one town, I don't remember where it was, and there was actually urine flowing down the gutters, and fleas everywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I mean, this is just sickness in the making here. You take an area like that, and it would wipe them out.
Sure.
It really would. You know, and that's why I keep bringing up 2130. You know, that's where they want us. They want us all stuck together in the cities, packed like cordwood. So this is what happens. You know,
And
you get everybody in the tight quarters like this, you get a sickness like this going that they don't supposedly have a cure for. But I bet you if I went and sneezed all over George Soros, if I was infected with the virus and sneezed all over Soros, he wouldn't get it. How much you want to bet? Why? Because they already have a cure for it. That's why.
I believe that, John. I believe they have a vaccine. I think they've had a vaccine before this was ever released.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I said it was released. And I'm going to say it again. I'm smart enough to know, because I took a little biology and stuff in school, and I had a microscope, you know, and I could look at these cells and stuff, and I've never seen one of those cells pick a lock, you know, and escape and decide to go infect people. No, they're taken out by human hands and released into the public.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe happened here. I don't know who did it. But I know that as far as I'm concerned, it came from Wuhan.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just a coincidence that the fish and animal market's only 180 meters away from that facility. So you got something right there to blame it on.
Well, they actually just did confirm, and was it China? I'll have to look it up again. China or Hong Kong, that they actually have a dog that has been infected with the coronavirus. So I don't know.
I saw that.
Yeah. Is this a new ploy they're going to try and say, oh, maybe I mean, they already said in China, they're literally throwing dogs and cats off the roofs of the high-rise building to kill them.
Yeah. Yep.
It's pathetic.
It's a crying shame. You don't want to be an animal or a peasant in China right now.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Yeah, because if you don't have a Xi Jinping in front of your name or in your name somewhere, you could well die.
Yeah.
You know, they don't think nothing about killing their own people.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, it's it's crazier. It's getting crazier by the day. You know, when you start seeing stuff like this, it literally pisses you off. You know, these guys are betting on us like we're ponies. So
you're right, Invader Zim. He says, don't be surprised. Look at Jimmy Seville. He got away with pedophilia, and the news networks never reported on him, and he died in his 80s since he knew he was a powerful political figures that will always bail him out. And that's exactly right, brother. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Who you know. Absolutely.
I've heard that all my life. My dad knew a lot of people.
Yeah, California critic, you're a sick boy. There's something seriously wrong with you. You said they're not throwing dogs and cats off the roof because they're sick. They like their meat tenderized.
Hey, Hot Rod, man. Glad you're here. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, California critic. Armed American Patriot. Good to see you. And Pete the Patriot. And Mary Willis. Yeah, man. Thank you guys for coming. We're winding down to our hour. And we've rambled on a little bit, but maybe we've got some information out there that you hadn't heard yet, because there's so much, and it changes by the hour.
Yeah.
It changes by the hour. So it's difficult to bring you the very latest, but we try. I guarantee you we'll go back right now and look at all the stuff we just talked about, and
I can just bring
statistics have changed.
Right. I can just bring up that map and update it, and I bet you the numbers have all changed.
Sure.
So, hey,
go ahead, John. I'm gonna give it to you.
To the people in the chat, are you guys interested in hearing more and learning more about this whole pedophile ring? It goes all the way up to the Vatican and the arrests and stuff coming. because
I do.
it's very, very deep for one.
Yep.
Number two is people that are reporting on it that get very, very deep and are disappearing. So before I go, I've invested a lot of time into it, and I'll dig deeper. These people need to be called out for who they are. I just want to make sure the chat's interested in it because it does get pretty grotesque. I will tell you that.
Yeah, as a lot of my followers know, I did nothing but abortion and child abuse, child rape, murder, kidnapping, the whole deal.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ninth circle, and everything, the pedophiles and the pedivores, the Pizzagate deal. So yeah, John, anytime you want to go on that, we'll go with that, and I guarantee you, the people will be here
Right.
because that's stuff that we have to know.
What I'm going to do is I got to update the list tonight. Like I say, I got 15 pages so far of arrest. Instead of reading them all off, what I'll do is I'll kind of categorize them: doctors, lawyers, school superintendents, and then the ones with the big ones that have 140, 150 charges against them.
Okay.
Kind of like that doctor in Dayton, Ohio, 145 counts of child pornography. He was, the kids that he was supposed to be helping.
Yeah, that's the way it works. You can't trust your bus drivers. You can't trust your mailmen. You can't trust your preachers.
But law enforcement, Bobby. We right down here in a couple, this county and a couple, I'd say between 3 counties. I bet you they've got 15 sheriffs that they've arrested in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
For either sexual assault of a child pornography. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is. It's sickening.
It's disgusting. It really is. And these people need to be called out for it. And
I'll tell you what, let's get together next Friday night, and that'll be our topic.
All right.
So
I will
we'll just do that, everybody. Our topic next week is going to be sexually exploited children. And so join us for that next Friday night. And tomorrow morning, I want you to remember, please, if you have time at 11 a.m., if you're not in church somewhere, come visit me at 11 a.m. I do a Bible study. I'm in the book of Exodus tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I'll be going live at 8 p.m. Charity Osho is supposed to be joining me, but I haven't heard back from her. I saw her in the chat. So maybe we can get her on tomorrow night. And then next Friday night, I'll have you back on, John, and we'll go into this this pedophilia problem that we have going across the world, and especially right here in America. Yeah.
And some of these guys, it's not only for the sex, they're selling them for the sex. I will say real quick, one guy, all right, had 3 girls. He put an ad on Backpage for sex with these girls. And in 3 days, he had over 300 responses for people that wanted to have sex with these girls.
My.
Disgusting.
All right, people. That's what you're going to be hearing about, but you're going to be hearing the truth. And that's one thing I can say about my brother Fight and Defend. When we're talking, the truth lives here, people. We're not going to lie to you. We're going to tell you the truth, like it or not. It is what it is.
Well, people need to know, hug your kids. Right. I'm telling you, hug your kids. Don't be afraid to check their phones.
That's right.
That's what they're doing. These scumbags are getting in, through your kids' phones and sending texts and sending pictures and doing meetups. It's crazy.
That's right. And there are warning signs that you need to learn and be aware of if your child starts to act differently or reserved or withdrawn or a lot of different things. So, John, I thank you for coming on tonight. I'll see you next Friday night. I'll be on in the morning at 11 a.m. for a Bible study. Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for Bible stories without the scripture, just the stories straight up. So I'll see you, John, next Friday night at 8 p.m. Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Thank everybody for coming. It's been great to have you, and thank you for your support. And I'll talk to all of y'all tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
We'll see you then. And thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.